There are many experiences that I've had in theater and peacebuilding work in Israel that have made a difference. I think first and foremost they've made a difference for the performers, for the Jews and Arabs who work together towards a shared and common task and goal, who are hoping to bring both the Jewish and Arab voices to this work. There's a specific theater in Israel, one of very few joint Jewish-Arab theaters. It's called the Arab Hebrew Theater in Jaffa. This is the theater that has devised and performed many joint productions, some in Hebrew and Arabic. One specific example which I want to share with you is a production called Longings. Longings is a collage of stories of Israeli citizens from various backgrounds, not only based on their ethnic, national background of Jewish or Palestinian, or Jewish and Arab, but also in terms of their ethnic and religious identities. And this collage, which is done in an environmental theater style where the 8 stories and the 8 actors surround the audience who are sitting on revolving chairs, is a weaving of the different longings that each character has for his home or for his homeland. Each character shares his sense of exile. For some, it's internal exile. For example, for the Arab Palestinian citizen who before 1948 lived in a Palestinian village, which they either left or abandoned or kicked out of, depending on the circumstances and also on the political point of view. Their longing is for a place just a few miles away. So there are stories about longings of that nature. There are stories of longings of Jewish immigrants who, for all sorts of circumstances, came to Israel, not out of choice, longing for that homeland. I once brought a group of Jewish and Arab kindergarten teachers from Jaffa to this play. And when they watched this play, the Arab kindergarten teachers were very, very moved, because here they were seeing their story brought both in Arabic and with some Hebrew on stage, or a story, if it wasn't their specific one that they could relate to, because in Jaffa, before 1948, 95% of the residents of that city were Palestinian. After 1948, more than half were already Jewish. And Jaffa was the center of Palestinian life before 1948. So the loss, not only physical loss, but the almost burial of those memories and the consequent legitimacy brought to the stage in the Arab Hebrew theater of those stories and of those memories is very, very powerful. Yet at the same time, sharing those stories with Jewish audiences, more so in a mixed Jewish-Arab audience, is very difficult for the Jewish audiences. It will prompt a lot of soul-searching, a lot of thinking, and a lot of pain. Pain both because of the empathy that the audience members will feel with those stories, but also pain because sometimes those stories are threatening. They're threatening to Jewish watchers because they raise uncomfortable questions about the society and about what was. The stories were structured in an interwoven fashion such that a given story, after it stopped and was moved on to additional stories, continued from where it left off. So the audience was revolving and evolving with these stories. And I think part of the experience of sitting in revolving chairs allowed the audience not only to more easily follow the storylines, but to seek their own interconnections. And it's important to say that it's not a given and it's not trivial that these kinds of stories are put on stage. It's not trivial at all, because theater is a public space. And though we theater artists tend to sometimes indulge in self-flagellation about the limitations, about our flaws and our weaknesses, about reaching wider audiences, the power of theater, certainly in these kinds of situations, is the depth and the breadth of the experience that the audience can go away with. And the kind of frustration, the kind of angst, the kind of perhaps inspiration that an audience member can leave in confronting or encountering these kinds of emotions and these kinds of stories. Challenging one's values is very difficult and very, very painful. Putting the voices of all of Israel's citizens, Jews and Arabs alike, and of different backgrounds on stage in and of itself is a very, very powerful and very meaningful expression.